Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I want to touch on this movie right quick. Do a quick. It's going to be a spoiler review. If you haven't seen this, haven't seen the movie, if I can't, I recommend that you will, go ahead and watch it before you look at this video, because I'm gonna give a lot of details about this movie, which is very overwhelming, and it kind of had me a little upset. No lie, it did. But I'm gonna touch on this, starting with the red flags. I'm gonna talk more about the red flags and some of the stuff that's in the movie, but it's gonna be, like I say, real short. This story kind of begins with this lady that's in that white dress. She apparently, I guess the white dress represents that she was married to the guy that is on the right, who ended up dying from a gunshot. And I guess she had somewhat of a happy marriage, but unfortunately, I think the guy may have been into some kind of a situation where, of course, he got a job, but he also got like a side hustle selling rocks, maybe. I don't know, because he had like tons and tons of cash. Well, unfortunately, he died and she became a widow, and she inherits, I think, some of his trust funds or insurance, life insurance policy. I don't know what it was, but she inherited all kind of like money he had. So she ended up getting with this guy. Like sometimes later, she met this guy, and she ended up getting with this guy that's on the left with the long hair. And that's where things turn to the worst. And I'm gonna touch on the red flags that is on this movie. That she, and not just her, but a lot of women tend to like overlook based on when they get in their emotions and their feelings for somebody. They kind of ignore certain red flags, and she also kind of tend to she's more prone to being attracted to. She more likely attracts, I guess, street dudes, guys who's for the streets and stuff, or we the hustlers. That's what she seemed to attract. But one of the red flags I would say with that guy, who is known to be a very abusive person, was the way he came across on her. He said some things like, damn, you know what? I would have killed you, but you too sexy for all of that. Now that right there is a very disrespectful remark. That's not how you introduce yourself to somebody. But I guess she kind of like it because he sound like he could be a roughneck, or he the type of dude that just like, he the type of person that got a little edge on him, which you got some women that like that. I'm not saying all, but you got some of them that do. And he called her out of her name, which is another red flag. But one of the major red flag was he went to the I think when she was in that beauty shop, and he walked in with that girl. Well, with this with his girlfriend, well, ex-girlfriend. Eventually, she walked in that shop with shades on, and her hair looked all out, and she looked like she wasn't really too happy, this shows proof that he might have been beating up on her, and at the same time flirting with her, and I guess call her out her name and offer her money and stuff, like some dope. And later on, they spend time together in the club, and then she suddenly wants to move in with the guy. And the mom said, "Why are you doing it? You barely know this guy." And she just say that, he's a good guy, because I just know I guess for some reason she could know that he's a good guy, until as time progresses, for the first time, he actually hit her. He hit her over, I guess a guy might think that she was lying, that she was talking to her cousin who gave her some stuff. And he called her all kind of names and threatened her and hit her again and caused her to have a nosebleed, and she was upset. And as time progressed, that the beatings he gave her is very excruciating. Like, it get rougher and rougher. And like his ex-girlfriend told her, and she didn't want to listen, the bigger the gifts, the harder the beatings, which she should take into account, because he was like beating her. She got so scared of him one time that she hid in the bathroom with her son. And speaking of her son, she dragged her son she actually dragged her son in a situation where he was like a sitting duck. That poor boy, he he don't really know much of what's going on or how dangerous and vile this guy is. He didn't know like ahead of time that could, this guy could cause his demise. But at the same time, he was a little kid. And I even look at that boy was even scared. And he was a small kid. But she finally escaped, and for the first time she escaped and got away from him and was staying with her mom's house for a while. And this dude was called 50 times, like 100 times, called so many times, and he eventually visited there. He said he wanted to see his baby. This guy literally tried to use manipulation. I know a lot of guys do this. You got some sorry dudes out here that just like him will use a baby as a way to keep this woman in his life always. He intentionally impregnates her, and where he can have close ties and connections with her. And that's something, like I say, very common with a lot of insecure men would do. But she eventually get pregnant and gave birth, and he, I guess, begging to want her to come back to where he was at. But he, for some reason, find his way back. She found her way back where he at. And even though she didn't really like him as like she once did before, she somewhat tolerated him. And he was still abusive to her and still talked smack. He wasn't really abusive to her, but he was also abusive to some of her friends. He literally threatened them when they tried to talk to him about her. And I think he actually killed one of her friends by strangling her to death. And that's like all the red flags I can give. And also, despite of her knowing all of that, she made bad dating choices. And you know what? Like back in the days, right? I say during early civilization, I want to add this to it. There is a reason why a lot of fathers have arranged marriages, or either a lot of fathers pick spouses for their own daughters, because they know that a lot of girls, a lot of young girls, they make bad choices and decisions in picking men, because they might think that they might go for a man because of, he got swag, he just look awesome, he just seemed cool. I just like the way how he carried himself. It just looked hot. So I think I'm a bad girl who need it. They know that women make dumb choices like that, and when they get with a guy, they don't even know the guy from a can of paint. They don't know how crazy he is, and later on, they run into a crazy guy, just like this guy on that screen on the left side of her. This crazy guy. Until it's too late. And one thing he said, just like the title said, one thing he said to her that I would recommend that all women should take heed on. If a man say, if I can't have you, no one else ever will, or if I can't have you, no one else can, or whatever, it's something of that category, or either you're going to be with me whether you like it or not, and he's already abusive, don't argue with him. Just say okay, maybe say okay or whatever. Take that as something, a serious threat, because that's a threat. That's threatening words. If I can't have you, no one else can. Leave the city, leave the state. I say leave state line. Go far away from him. Pack up some stuff that you can't really replace. And of course, get your babies, if you got kids. Leave. And another thing she did too, one mistake she did is she run them out too much. I noticed that a lot of black people, when they got something going on, they like to parade it. They like to show it off to their friends. They like to lollygag. Oh, I'm going to Atlanta. That's what she was about to do. I'm going to Atlanta, y'all. I'm about to go there. She tell her friends that, and one of her snaky friends, which he ended up killing, told him her plans and everything, and that got him going to come to her even harder, until I guess around near the closer end where she was about to move, she went and talking to him about she don't want to be with him and everything, and she leaving with the kids. And also one thing I noticed, a lot of men, when a man say that he want his family back, he really serious, like he want his family back, and he probably will do what he takes to make that happen. And if he's unsuccessful, he'll just go insane. And this guy is insane. and her friend be in his ear and stuff, and you can kind of tell this guy had enough for her. After he murdered that poor boy, they turn around and murder her. He find her friend who was rubbing it in, saying that she don't want to be with you, and if you start shooting or whatever, these old people out here gonna call police, and they love, people in jail love long hair, love Mr. Scotty, and she kind of make fun of that, and this guy was pissed. I mean, you can kind of tell how angry he was. She rubbed it in, and he ended up killing her. Like, when it comes to a situation that serious, that's, you know what I'm saying, you need to don't take it as a grain of salt, because that's very dangerous. People like him is dangerous, and you know what I'm saying, they're very dangerous. She should have, like, the wife should have just left and don't ever come back, ever. And I just noticed this goes right along domestic violence, because domestic violence, not many people talk more about domestic violence, because it's very prevalent, and in some cases very deadly and tragic. But domestic violence need to be talked about, because when I actually look at that movie and the ending part of it, it kind of got me sick to my stomach a little bit, and I just want to go in that screen and just beat the crap out that guy. I mean, especially the way he shoot that boy, and he said, "I'll never like you anyway." Like, I mean, that what kind of got me a little bit. I want to mess him up, man. But that poor, child, her daughter, who was killed. He spared his own daughter, his newborn daughter's life, and that daughter gonna grow up without both the father and the mother, because this guy couldn't control his self-restraint. And now I kind of understand why a lot of women actually, they kind of got on me a little bit about certain situations, like they shouldn't feel sympathy for a guy who abused women, just like that man with that case that happened in Chicago. And now I kind of see where a lot of women are coming from, because a lot of women told me that it's very prevalent. It's happened to every other woman. They've been in a domestic dispute. They've been with guys who's threatening them. And for all the women out there, I see what you mean, and I'm sorry for not having the right understanding of this, because I'm starting to look deeper into it. Like, you got a lot of guys out here that isn't wrapped too tight, and I want to apologize on behalf of the women who try to, some of them who don't really speak too much on it. They talk about it, they don't talk about it in depth like as it should. But like I say, it's a good movie, and I hope you liked it. And for those who didn't want to watch the movie, and I hope you find like the information you got on this review, and you might want to take a look at it yourself. But tell me what you think.